Before we start this amazing movie, my friend, don't forget to leave a like because it really helps us a lot. And of course, support the channel by subscribing. Our movie starts with an announcement about the Mercy Trial, which is a trial system created by the government using artificial intelligence. They made it after getting tired of all the crime and chaos happening in the country, because they were unable to control the huge number of crimes. Because of unemployment, the number of homeless people increased, and every few days there was a new disaster, either a murder or another robbery, which made people afraid and unable to feel safe anymore. At first, they created special red zones for dangerous people called red zones. But many officers and soldiers died there, so they decided that Mercy would be the solution to this crisis, as Mercy is a judge that misses absolutely nothing. She analyzes the personality of the person in front of her with incredible accuracy, faster than any laboratory analysis, and she never gives a verdict until she confirms all the evidence. She is also known for never making mistakes, literally 0% error. Since they created this system, people started living in peace and safety again. The Mercy Trial became successful, and they managed to judge 18 people over the past 2 years. Then we see Chris waking up while sitting in the confession chair with his hands and legs tied up. He becomes shocked when he realizes he is inside a Mercy Trial. The judge appears in front of him and tells him he has been arrested and his trial is about to begin. Chris becomes even more shocked and asks if she has gone crazy. He tells her that he is Judge Chris himself and that he was the one who sentenced 8 criminals using her system. She tells him that she already knows everything about him and informs him that the alcohol level in his body has now dropped, meaning he is fully conscious and ready for trial. She also tells him that he has been unconscious for 5 hours and 26 minutes, then asks him to swear in so the session can begin. Chris says he must be dreaming, and if this is real, then she is making a huge mistake. She answers that she never makes mistakes, and if there is any mistake, he will eventually find it himself. Chris tells her to stop talking and asks what exactly he is supposed to swear for. Then comes the huge shock when she tells him he is accused of murdering Nicole Revin, his wife. Chris becomes completely shocked and tells her she must be insane. Suddenly, she opens a video from his house, and he sees his wife lying on the floor while his daughter is crying beside her. When they ask Nicole who did this to her, she answers, "Chris." He becomes devastated and starts crying while completely unable to understand what is happening. The judge tells him they already lifted fingerprints from the scene and that they perfectly match his fingerprints. But Chris is still in complete shock and tells her she is lying to him. She tells him to confirm it himself and gives him permission to search the news online. He starts searching and becomes horrified when he discovers the entire world has turned against him. She tells him that even though he and his company Jackie were among the first supporters of the Mercy Trial, he is now being judged by it himself. Then he watches a video of himself talking about Mercy and saying that he is proud that he and his company captured the first criminal ever judged by Mercy and that he will continue capturing more criminals. But Chris is completely stunned and cannot understand anything. When the judge asks him for his response to the accusation, he says he is innocent and would never hurt his wife. She tells him the evidence proves he is guilty and that his current guilt level is 97.5%, which is extremely high. Then she opens many files and tells him they all belong to the citizens of Los Angeles because every device they own is connected to her, and she has complete authority to access anything in order to make her judgment. She also tells him he has the right to present any evidence proving his innocence, but if he fails, he will die in exactly 90 minutes. Chris becomes terrified and keeps begging her to stop the trial because he did not kill anyone, but she tells him he is only wasting his remaining time. She explains that the chair he is sitting on is programmed to execute him automatically after 90 minutes, unless she personally stops the trial. And for that to happen, his guilt level must drop below 92%. Then she starts showing him the evidence she discovered through videos and audio recordings. She tells him he arrived at work at 8:51, but strangely, he never got out of the car and suddenly drove back home. When his wife saw him, she locked herself inside the house, and he followed her while angrily demanding that she open the door. When she refused, he became furious, went back to his car, grabbed the house keys, opened the door, and entered the house. He stayed inside for 26 minutes while loud arguing could be heard, but there were no cameras inside the house to show what happened. Later, their daughter returned home after visiting her friend and found her mother lying on the floor, stabbed to death. Mercy explains that Nicole was killed by someone using their right hand, and Chris is right-handed. They also found Nicole's blood on his clothes after arresting him. After leaving the house, he went to a bar and kept drinking heavily, and when the police tried arresting him there, he attempted to escape. Chris is completely losing his mind because he cannot remember anything she is talking about, and all he keeps saying is that he could never kill his wife and that he stopped going to bars and drinking. Then she shows him footage from inside the bar because she can access any camera instantly. Chris becomes shocked when he sees himself completely drunk and even attacking his fellow officers. When he tells her he does not remember anything, she answers that maybe he really forgot, or maybe he is simply lying because she learned one thing from all her trials: everyone who comes here lies. Then she asks him why he returned home that day, but Chris tells her he cannot remember. Then she asks him why he was fighting with Nicole, whether because of drinking or because of their daughter. Chris suddenly remembers his daughter and asks to talk to her, but the judge refuses at first because she is one of the witnesses. Chris gets angry and says he has the right to do anything to prove his innocence, so she agrees and tells him to send her a request. Chris becomes nervous and keeps rewriting the message until he deletes everything because he cannot even form a sentence. In the end, the judge sends the request herself. Then Chris asks to call his friend, who is also Nicole's manager at work. The man gets angry and tells him he should have called before returning to drinking again. When Chris says he did not kill Nicole and asks him to trust him, the man replies that Chris is now in Mercy's hands and that Mercy will know whether he is guilty or not. Before Chris continues talking, the judge suddenly ends the call. Chris asks her to reconnect it and says the man knows him and Nicole very well and knows they loved each other and that he would never hurt her. The judge says she already knows everything about his relationship with Nicole, then starts showing him videos from his phone, Nicole's phone, and their daughter's phone. She shows him clips from their wedding and the day their daughter was born. Back then, Chris was happy with his best friend and partner, Ray. The judge explains that everything changed after Ray died. Then she shows him video calls between him and Nicole, where he was always angry because of drinking. She also tells him that Nicole told her friends and family many times that she wanted to leave him. Then she shows him Nicole's messages and calls where she sounded scared and exhausted. After that, the judge shows him a video from his daughter's hidden account while she talks to a troubled boy about the problems between her parents. Suddenly, the daughter hears a strange noise and quickly ends the call. Chris becomes shocked and asks how she found this account when he did not even know it existed. She tells him his daughter had another hidden account that nobody knew about. Then she shows him another video where the daughter was filming inside the house and saying the house might be haunted because she kept hearing strange sounds. After that, the judge tells Chris that his daughter agreed to talk to him. Chris answers the call and finds her devastated after her mother's death. She asks him why people are saying he killed her mother, and Chris tells her there must be some mistake and that he will prove he is innocent. He also tells her he would never do something like that. Suddenly, Nicole's father enters the room, takes the phone away from her, and ends the call. Chris becomes angry because his daughter is staying with Nicole's family. The judge tells him they are the closest people she has left after her mother's death. But Chris says Nicole's father already hates him and will turn his daughter against him. The judge tells him none of that matters because time is running out. Chris becomes furious and tells her she already made her decision before he even sat in the chair, and that she probably does this to everyone. The judge stays silent for a moment. Then she tells him anger will not help him. Chris replies that his life is destroyed, his wife is dead, and now even his daughter believes he killed her. The judge answers that she does not understand emotions because she was not programmed to feel them. Chris tells her that she still understands how to manipulate people during conversations. She replies that he only has 1 hour and 8 minutes left, and that his guilt percentage is still high. She tells him that if he is truly innocent, he must prove it immediately, or his daughter will lose both her mother and father. Chris thinks quietly for a few seconds before asking her to contact Jackie. Within seconds, the judge finds Jackie's location and connects the call. Chris asks Jackie to show him the crime scene, and she walks through the house, showing him every corner while he examines the fingerprints. Chris tells her it is normal for his fingerprints to be everywhere because it is his own house, but Jackie's expression makes him uncomfortable. When Chris says there is no proof against him, the judge replies that everything points to him being the killer. Chris stays silent and asks her to access Nicole's phone records. Then he remembers the video the judge showed earlier when he and Nicole were fighting while she was secretly texting someone. When they compare the time with her call records, they find nothing. Chris then asks about her second hidden phone. The judge says she knows nothing about it because it was never registered in her system. Chris explains that Nicole got the phone from work 6 months ago and once called him from it. The judge searches the records and finally finds the number linked to a Mercedes. When she calls the number, they discover the car parked outside the house. Chris asks Jackie to bring the two phones close together, and they discover Nicole was only talking to one person through that phone. When the judge calls him, a man answers, but the moment he hears Mercy's voice, he hangs up immediately. Chris becomes shocked after discovering Nicole was cheating on him. The judge tracks the second phone's location, but because of traffic, Chris tells Jackie to go there by helicopter. The judge asks him if he is trying to prove his innocence or prove his wife cheated on him. Chris replies that everybody lies anyway. The judge tells him his guilt percentage dropped slightly. Jackie heads toward the dangerous red zone where most crimes happen. The judge gives her the hotel location connected to the phone, and Jackie manages to catch the man before he escapes. Mercy discovers his name is Patrick and that he works as an assistant chef in the hotel. He runs away looking terrified, which makes them suspect him even more. Then they quickly access his records and discover he is highly skilled with knives using his right hand, making Chris think Patrick is definitely the killer. Jackie chases him until she finally catches him, but Patrick keeps saying he did not kill Nicole. Jackie asks him why he was running away, and he says he panicked after seeing them. Then Chris talks to Patrick and asks what his relationship with Nicole was. Patrick explains that he used to meet her normally, and that she often complained to him about the problems in her life. The judge then accesses the hotel cameras and discovers Patrick was at work during the murder, meaning he could not have killed Nicole. But instead of helping Chris, the judge tells him this only proves Nicole was cheating on him, giving him an even stronger motive to kill her. She tells him his guilt percentage has risen again to 98% and says she is sure he is hiding something. Chris admits he is not shocked by Nicole cheating because he already suspected it and knows he disappointed her many times. Then he finally tells the judge the truth he had been hiding. He admits he returned to drinking a year ago and used to secretly hide alcohol inside water bottles so his wife and daughter would not notice. Then the judge shows old videos of him with Nicole while he was drunk because of his friend Ray's death. Nicole used to record him so he could see himself after sobering up. After that, Chris decided to get treatment and successfully stopped drinking for an entire year. Everyone around him was happy, especially his friend Rob, who helped him quit. But later, Chris could not control himself whenever he remembered Ray, because he still carried guilt for not killing the man responsible for Ray's death. Then Chris remembers the mission where everything happened. Back then, he and Ray were watching a suspicious car. When they were about to move in, Nicole suddenly called Chris, so Ray told him to answer while he handled the suspect alone. Suddenly, Ray got shot, and the driver hit him with the car before escaping. Chris wanted to take Ray to the hospital first, but Ray refused and told him to continue the mission. Chris finally managed to flip the suspect's car. When the man escaped, Chris chased him, but in the end, he refused to kill him and left him for the law because Ray was already dead. Unfortunately, the man later proved he did not kill Ray. And since that day, Chris blamed himself for everything. Because of the guilt he felt, he returned to drinking again. Chris admits he always wanted to kill that man and became angry all the time at home. Then the judge asks him why he never left his car after arriving at work on the day of the murder. Chris explains that after reaching the garage, he realized his alcohol bottle was missing, so he immediately understood that Nicole found it and took it away. That is why he returned home angry. He entered the house and broke her favorite plate to force her to give him the bottle back because he wanted to upset her. But during the argument, Nicole got injured by the broken glass on the floor. Chris explains that this is why her blood was found on his clothes. When the judge asks why he did not say this earlier, he replies that it would only make him look guiltier. The judge tells him she already has enough evidence against him and that his guilt percentage is still extremely high. which is enough for her to sentence him. Then she tells him he is obviously going to die, so it would be better if he confessed before the execution. Chris replies that he could not commit a crime of passion because he no longer had any passion left toward Nicole. At that moment, he only has 41 minutes left, and the word passion keeps repeating in his mind. Chris asks to keep searching for any evidence proving his innocence, but the judge says she already did everything he asked for. Chris gets angry and tells her the entire trial system was created only to kill people. Finally, she allows him to continue searching. She shows him all the people Nicole contacted regularly, and Chris asks her to separate her friends, family, and coworkers. Then he remembers Patrick saying Nicole used to complain to him about problems in her job, so Chris asks the judge to call Patrick again and asks what exactly was bothering Nicole. Patrick explains that Nicole told him about a chemical substance at work that kept disappearing in small amounts. She hated spying on her coworkers, but her manager forced her to investigate because he was afraid someone was stealing the material, even though it was not expensive. After ending the call, Chris asks the judge to remove Nicole's friends and relatives from the suspects list and focus only on her coworkers because he does not know them personally. The judge tells him none of them came near the house after the party they held earlier. Then, Chris contacts Jackie and tells her to go to the warehouse where Nicole worked. After that, he asks the judge to replay the video their daughter recorded during the party. Within seconds, she shows him the footage again, but nothing strange appears in it. The cameras also show that none of Nicole's coworkers entered their street after the party. Chris then says the killer may have entered from the back street behind the house. When he asks about the neighbor living behind them, they discover his camera was broken. After checking the cameras again, they spot Rob's car with 3 people inside. Chris contacts Rob and asks who was with him, and they turn out to be Nicole's coworkers. When he asks if any of them missed work on the day of the murder, Rob says no. Chris then asks the judge to replay his daughter's video again, and this time he watches it carefully because he only has 30 minutes left. He hears his daughter ending the call with her friend and saying that her father had arrived home. Chris compares the call time with his location at work and realizes that when his daughter heard the strange sound outside, he was actually still at work. That means someone else was inside the house. Chris immediately calls his daughter again, but she is angry at him and refuses to talk. The judge helps him and asks the girl to listen carefully to what her father says. When Chris asks if she saw anyone downstairs, she says she went down but found nobody. Then Chris replays the video again after his daughter heard the strange sound. Chris notices there was a certain door in the house that was always closed, but this time it was open. His daughter tells him she never opened it. Then Chris becomes shocked after seeing someone's hand appear behind the door in the video. He realizes the killer stayed inside the house for 2 full days after entering during the party and never left after killing Nicole. Chris starts suspecting all the women on the list, trying to figure out which man among them could be the killer. The judge tells him to think carefully, not only about Nicole's co-workers, but also about the company itself. Chris asks her to access the company's servers, and they enter Nicole's emails, searching for the missing chemical material. They discover 2 other people besides Nicole knew about the missing supplies, and one of them is a man named Holt. They also discover the material has been disappearing for 6 months, but the delivery records show no mistakes at all, meaning someone has been covering up the theft. During those 6 months, almost 300 kilograms disappeared. Chris asks the judge about the material, and she explains all its uses, including skin products. They suspect the stolen material is being sold inside the red zones because it can also be used for illegal drugs. Then they find a video of Nicole talking to Holt while he begs her to give him a chance, but she refuses. Chris also discovers messages showing Nicole planned to meet Holt on a certain day. After checking another camera video showing Holt begging Nicole again, Chris becomes suspicious of him. They also learn Holt is drowning in debt. At that moment, Chris's guilt percentage drops to 94%. Chris quickly asks the judge to contact Rob, but Holt suddenly answers the call instead. When they ask for Rob, Holt goes searching for him while they continue monitoring him in case he tries to escape. Holt returns looking nervous and says Rob already left. Chris tells Holt he knows about the missing material and that the police are already coming for him. But then comes the first big surprise. Holt admits he is in debt, but the money is owed to Rob, not someone else. He also explains that both he and Nicole discovered Rob was stealing the materials, but he did not want to expose him because Rob had always been kind to him and because he owed him money. Then Holt reveals something even more shocking. Rob never came to work on the day of the murder. Holt also says that during the party, Rob asked him to leave because he wanted to stay alone and talk to Nicole for a while, and even told him to take his car. That means Rob never actually left Nicole's house. Chris immediately calls Jackie and tells her to change direction and go after Rob Nelson as fast as possible, while the judge alerts all police units. Chris's guilt percentage drops again, but when he gets upset because it did not fall much, the judge tells him she still is not fully sure he is innocent. Chris angrily asks her if she can even feel anything. Suddenly, the judge's voice starts glitching and breaking apart before returning to normal again, almost as if the system itself is struggling with the possibility that Chris may actually be innocent. Meanwhile, the police arrive at Rob's house but discover he is missing. They search the entire house and find an old photo of him as a child. The judge explains that Rob grew up in an orphanage and that all his records disappeared from the network. Then they notice another child standing beside him in the photo. Chris asks the judge to search for similar images, and then comes the second huge surprise. The boy in the picture turns out to be Dave's brother, the very first criminal Chris ever sentenced using the mercy chair, which means everything happening now was only revenge. At the same time, Jackie searches Rob's garage, and they discover he had been planning something for a long time. Chris notices a calendar on the wall and realizes that when Rob told him he was at work, he was actually at home. Then the judge discovers Rob was using the stolen materials to build a bomb. They quickly track the company car he is driving, and Chris understands that Rob is targeting Mercy itself and is heading toward them with the bomb. When they monitor the car, they notice Rob talking to someone, so the judge checks where the car was before getting on the road to discover who was with him. Then comes the third big surprise when they see Rob taking Chris's daughter from in front of her grandfather's house. At the same time, Jackie's team discovers another bomb and tries escaping the building, but most of them fail to get out before it explodes. Chris asks if that was Rob's bomb, but the judge shocks him by explaining that the explosion only used a small amount of the stolen material, meaning the real bomb is much bigger. At that moment, Chris's guilt percentage drops to 0, proving he is innocent. But instead of stopping the trial, Chris begs the judge to keep the session active so he can stay connected to Mercy's systems and rescue his daughter. The judge refuses because it breaks the rules and because the chair will execute him automatically once the timer ends, unless she stops the trial herself. But Chris keeps begging her and tells her she may have judged innocent people unfairly before. His words affect her, and she finally agrees, even though there are only 9 minutes left. Meanwhile, all the police units chase Rob's car, but he destroys most of them by flipping their vehicles whenever they get close. Finally, the officers decide to destroy the car with a missile before he reaches the Mercy building. Chris panics because he wants to save his daughter, but the police believe they have no other choice. At the last second, the judge disables the missile, and Chris thanks her. Then he asks Jackie to stop in front of Rob so he can speak to him directly. Rob finally explains that his brother was innocent and says he joined the relationship program years ago, only to get close to Chris and take revenge. He tells Chris he wanted him to feel the same pain his innocent brother felt, while being unable to prove he was innocent. Chris tries convincing him to stop and asks what his daughter has to do with all this. Rob replies that when his brother's case happened, he called the police many times but nobody listened. Suddenly, Jackie shoots Rob in the shoulder and tells Chris that Rob must die. At the same time, the judge secretly helps Chris by forcing Jackie's helicopter to land. But Rob still crashes his car into the Mercy building, causing the power to shut down and Mercy to disappear from the system. Only seconds remain before the chair executes Chris automatically, but Mercy returns at the last moment and releases him. Chris immediately runs downstairs to save his daughter, while the judge helps him distract Rob because he is still holding the bomb trigger, and if he releases it, everyone will die. Mercy asks Rob what evidence proves his brother was innocent. Rob explains that he visited his brother before his death and was shocked by his condition, so he secretly gave him a phone to stay in contact with him. On the day of the murder, his brother spoke to him on the phone the entire day, meaning he could not have committed the crime. Rob says he reported this evidence to the police, but nobody listened to him. While Rob talks, Mercy secretly guides Chris through his earpiece and explains how to disable the bomb. At the perfect moment, Chris signals to his daughter, distracting Rob long enough for Chris to grab him and stop the bomb. Chris is ready to kill Rob for everything he did, but Mercy begs him to stop while his daughter cries and asks him to let Rob go. Suddenly, Jackie appears and attacks Rob. Then comes the final surprise. Rob reveals that he told a female officer about the phone evidence years ago, but she ignored him completely. Chris immediately realizes he means Jackie because she has been desperate to see him executed the entire time, and she was the only woman working with them at the station. Mercy searches the old case again, and Chris discovers the phone really was in Jackie's evidence records, but she secretly hid it and later destroyed it. Mercy even shows Chris the footage proving it. When Chris asks Jackie why she did this, she says the Mercy trial had to succeed because the country was collapsing into chaos and people needed something to stop the crime. Even Mercy becomes shocked after realizing she once gave a false judgment. In the end, Jackie and Rob are both arrested. Chris tells Mercy that everyone makes mistakes and that the important thing is learning from them. Mercy agrees with him, then quietly disappears from the system as if she finally retired. And here, our movie comes to an end, my friend. Don't forget to leave a like and tell me your opinion about the movie in the comments. And if you still haven't subscribed, make sure to support the channel and join us for the next movie recap.